Okay, so let's get started. We are going to put together the little sandwich board or bistro sign, whatever you want to call it, for my Coffee and Friends project for Country Craft Creations. So this is kind of hard to show. My camera doesn't go up quite that high. So this is pretty large. It's 7 or 9 inches tall by 7 inches wide, and you can see there's a mini album inside there. And part 3 of the tutorial will actually be constructing the mini album. So there's the front. The paper collection is Coffee and Friends by Echo Park. It's just so pretty, and I love my coffee. So there's a little handle at the top you can see here. I thought this looked like one of those little signs that's outside of every single Starbucks you've ever seen, or at least here in Pittsburgh, in downtown Pittsburgh, every restaurant has one of these, where they write the special of the day on. So I just thought that was super cute. So there's the other side, and I have to remember, because so many people have asked me. I posted the sneak peek on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations, and everybody's asking me where I got these little charms. So I'll have to remember to put the link. I found them in an Etsy shop. If I can find the link, I should be able to. I will link it for you in the description. But yeah, so that's what we're going to make. It's super easy. So let me set this aside so I don't knock it over. All right, so what you need is, and I would recommend using some heavier weight chipboard or medium weight chipboard. This is, I don't know if you can see, it's pretty thick. I'm not exactly sure. I don't understand, or I don't know what the weights are for chipboard, so I'm sorry, but I know Tammy sells this in her store, Country Craft Creations. So I believe she sells them by the sheet, so you could grab yourself some of those. So I cut 2 sheets for the front and the back of the sandwich board, right, at 2 pieces at 7 by 9. And what I did to actually make the feet is I just took my handy dandy ruler. You can use your cutting mat if you have one. Just kind of line it up, and you just measure in or measure up 1 inch from the bottom. Or I did it this way, sorry. Measure up 1 inch from the bottom, draw yourself a line straight across, and then come over on one side, measure up another inch, or an inch in, sorry about that. Measure an inch in, draw another line, and then just go ahead and cut it out with your ruler and a craft knife. Or you can even use your cutter. I used my cutter on, I think it was this one, and it came out a little cleaner. Typically, I basically don't really care too much about how that looks, because that's going to get wrapped with paper if you want to. I wish I would have wrapped my bistro sign before I constructed it and put it together, because I have some of the craft color showing through, and I put black on the inside, which, I'm okay with it. It's not a big deal. But a good way to avoid that issue is to use black chipboard. You don't even have to cover this chipboard on the inside if you don't want to, because really, unless you look for it, you're not going to really see it. So it's completely up to you. So that's what I did. I measured up 1 inch from the bottom and in 1 inch from both sides. And then I just cut out that rectangle. And I'm sorry, I threw it away, but it's actually right here. So yeah, so you can see that fit right inside there. I even drew the squigglies on it to remind myself to cut that. So yeah. So when you set them together, they should line up pretty well. Okay, so that's what you need. So you'll do 2 7 by 9s, cut out the bottom section. If you want to, you could just leave it. It stands up pretty well on its own either way, and I'll show you why. All right, and then the next piece I did, so I cut a piece at 4 by 7 And this I'm calling the tray. So we're gonna put that in there, attach it there, and then we're gonna attach this side, and that helps hold it, give it stability. And I would again recommend using a heavier weight chipboard, because this is the mini album sits on top of this. Okay. And by the way, you don't have to make this sandwich board, but I think it just made the project so cute. I just absolutely love it. Okay, so anyway, so then you need a 4x7 with a tray. And then you also need one piece at the top that we're gonna connect right here. Whoops, this is hard to do. I need like 3 hands. We're gonna connect another piece up here so that we're able to fit the mini album in. Right? Because if you do it just like this, I suppose you could still, you know, you could still do it like that. Well, dang. Well, I think I added the extra piece because I needed more space for the mini album to fit. But anyway, so that piece should be 1.5x7. Or if you want to make a smaller album, again, if you wanted to do a 6x8 or 5x7 or whatever, you obviously would just adjust your width. Okay, and then another thing, that's all you need for the chipboard, I believe. For the handle, and again, these instructions will be written, there'll be a cutting guide in the description. But for the handle, I just took a piece of black cardstock, and as we all know, cardstock is not created equal. There we go, with better light. Cardstock is not created equal. So I exclusively use the artisan cardstock from Country Craft Creations. I just wish I could show you. I don't know, you can't really see. It kind of almost looks like it's textured and it feels like it's textured, but it's like a linen type of a cardstock that is so smooth. It scores beautifully. Everything about it is just beautiful. So yes, I just wish we could get this in pink. But anyway, so you're going to want that. So I cut this down to, again, you can make your handle as thick or as thin as you want. It would be really cool if you had like some leather or some faux leather you could use to make a handle. I mean, the possibilities are endless and it's up to you, but I cut it down to 2 inches by 7 inches, and I just added some Scor tape here. You can use glue, you can use whatever adhesive you like, and that becomes the handle, and we'll get to that after we finish. So then what you're also going to need, and this is the way I do it, there are 1,000,002 ideas out there for how do you put these things together and how do you build 3D. Going back years and years and years, I know a lot of you from Country Craft Creations. I've met a lot of you over the years, and we all met, you know, following different designers, and so I know a lot of you recognize these. As I do. So these are called construction strips. Okay, so what these are is just, you can see the different color in the cardstock. This is just cardstock. Now this is the artisan cardstock in the craft color. And I'm not so snobby about my craft cardstock as I am about my cream color, my white, and my black. Those 3 colors I exclusively use the artisan cardstock. But I also love the craft cardstock from Country Craft Creations. But you can also get it at Michael's or Joann's or something like that. It's a nice strong, it's a nice weight. Rarely does it ever crack. So I like to use it for construction strips. So what I do is I take a 12 by 12 piece of paper, cut the strips down 1 by 12, score it straight down the middle at 1/2 inch, and add some Scor tape. You can use wet glue. It just takes, you know, my opinion, wet glue just takes a little bit longer. So let me get over in the middle. Sorry about that. So then what I do is, you can see I've already set I started setting this one up when I realized, oh crap, I have to tell you what that is. So what I did is just trim this down from the 12 inches down to 7 inches. And then I just mitered the edges, or tabbed the edges to make a construction strip. Okay, so we're going to do that on the other side. I already cut this one. So, all right. You take your paper backing off, or go ahead and add your wet glue. And, you know, I think it's pretty obvious that when you're constructing something that's probably going to take a bit of abuse, you want to use a nice strong, where's my bone folder? You want to use a nice strong adhesive. Okay. And then you can see I overshot the edge there. Just trim that off. All right, so there's that. All right, and then for this one, this is the 1.5 by 7 inches. I'm just going to go ahead and grab another one. And I eyeball this, just make sure it goes end to end. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to go ahead and miter those corners. I'm sorry, I can't speak today. I had way too much caffeine today, and then my mouth won't move as fast as my brain is. Which, if you're one of my relatives watching this, you're going to be like, yeah, sure, your mouth doesn't move. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and put the folded edge along the edge of the chipboard. Line it up. Whoops. And then just follow along the edge of that chipboard. And you can see mine is off just a little hair. Let's trim that off. Let's put it on the other side. Do I have another one? Okay, let's see. I do. Okay, you can do it this way and trim it, or you can line it up on your cutting mat. I know you can't see that, but you know, line it up at 7 inches and cut it. Okay. Let's make sure we burnish that pretty well, because that one is not laying flat. Right. Okay. Again, line up your folded edge with the edge of your chipboard. Now see that one? Excuse me, that one I was a little too short on. Right there. I just can't win. But I'm not going to stress about that because it will all hold together. Alright, so now we have our tray. We have our top part. And then we have our two sides. Okay, so then now I need to measure it because I can't recall. So on here I came up